Welcome to Retrobot, the YouTube channel where we feed a friendly space robot a diet of pure nostalgia. I'm Clay, and this is part 6 of our Short Circuits series on Warbotron. That's right, the big guy himself. This is the third-party combiner toy that is inspired by Transformers Bruticus, made up by the Combaticons. Lots of fans of the Transformers Gen 1 series will remember the Combaticons, and there have been a lot of different versions. But this is a third-party company who has taken inspiration from both the original toys and from the cartoon and created their own distinct set of characters. At this point, we have done videos that talk about each of the regular members, but this video focuses on a not quite an upgrade kit. It's more of an add-on kit that can be bought for Warbotron, and depending on the deal, like the deal that I got, it actually came with the add-on kit that gives you X-Ray and this extra gun set. So we're going to look at X-Ray and the gun set, and let's just dive right into that right now. So let me start by saying that when you receive Warbotron, he already comes with a gun. It's a pretty substantial gun. It has some joints here and in here and even here. So it does some things. The instructions aren't very clear about what all of those joints are for, but nonetheless they are there. Also, each of the Warbotron individual robots have weapons that attach to them both in vehicle mode and can be used in their robot modes. So you already have this if you have Warbotron. Now, the add-on kit gives you this. This is the first part of the add-on kit, which is also a pretty substantial gun, and it looks very, very cool. However, the difference between this add-on kit and the rest of the Warbotron set is that this add-on kit is completely disassembled. When you get it, you are going to get all of these pieces on sprues like a model kit, and you're going to have to put it together. Now, that being said, it's not hard to put together. The instructions are actually very thorough, but it's not something where you just get it out of a box and immediately start getting to play. If you take a look, however, it's not an expensive add-on kit. You can see that the original retail price was under $30, and on sale it was half that. So in comparison to a lot of other upgrade kits that I've seen, this kit is really substantial. You get a lot with it, and I guess the trade-off is that you do have to put it together. But, you know, I like putting things together. I actually found it relaxing and fun. I'm not, however, going to walk you through the steps of putting it together, because I feel like for a review, that's unnecessary. Now, if you would like to see how all of these parts go together, I am willing to take everything apart, both this and X-Ray here, and show it in a video. Just put in the comments below, hey Clay, can you please do a video that just shows us how to put these things together, because I would be happy to do so. I'm just assuming that you don't want to watch that because it takes a long time. It's going to be a long, probably not terribly interesting video, but you want me to do it? I'll do it. So So this is the thing. Now, this gun is actually tremendously cool. I know it just looks like a gun. You're like, okay, what's the big deal? It's a gun. But here's the thing. This is a gun made out of swords. It is entirely made out of swords. Well, okay, there's some nunchucks in there too. But there's swords here. Look. This is a sword, okay? The handles here, they're swords. Well, they're knives. This is a sword. This is another sword here. This whole thing, this is like a Gatling gun filled with little knives. So in my head, I'm imagining that when Warbotron wields this, it's not shooting lasers. It's not shooting bullets. It is shooting knives. And that is so badass on so many levels. I mean, what an amazing concept. And here's the other thing that this gun does. Of course, it disassembles. You can see that it's made up of all these different parts. So I'm going to disassemble it here so that you can see all the different things that you get with this gun. So you pull that off there, and that is a sword in a scabbard. And then you pull the other side off, and it is also a sword in a scabbard. And then that holds these things in place. These are knives in their own sheaths. And you see that they have pegs that are compatible with the holes on the other Warbotron characters. And then we, you have to have the nunchucks here. So some nunchucks, you can, and that's pretty awesome in its own right. And it has this chain, which this chain is metal. This is not a plastic chain, that's a metal chain. So that's really, really cool. And I lost a knife. There's all these knives here. So we've got this part here, which is one of the few parts that doesn't become a knife of any kind. I guess it's like a baseball bat or a club or something like that. It sort of reminds me of one of those clubs that I've seen in action movies where the person pulls this thing out of their pocket and it's only that long, and then they just kind of go and it extends itself, sort of like one of those plastic lightsabers that you get at the toy store, and then they beat people down with it. So there's that. Then you've got this thing, which in itself is kind of an underhand gun, which could go and that's really cool. Then you have all of these knives here that come out, and I guess this shoots knives. So the idea here is that these are all extra weapons that can be given to the other members of the Warbotron team so that they have lots of melee weapons. A lot of knives, some swords, a club, some nunchucks. So you have all of these things that can be added to the characters. Now, that being said, I'm just going to point out that the characters actually already have weapons, and because Whirlwind here, his rotors are made up of 4 swords. 4 out of 5 of the characters can also have a sword. So, as cool as that upgrade or that add-on kit is, at least in regards to this gun set here, I don't know how necessary it is for your Warbotron to be able to have an extra set of weapons when it seems like they already have more stuff than they can hold. There aren't tons and tons of extra holes that are on the figures that can receive these things. So it seems like you may find yourself choosing between different weapons. Now, that being said, you could probably give these weapons to other robots in your collection, or even other action figures. The peg sizes won't be the same, but you can probably work around that. And it is really, really cool. You could even, if you are creating your own storylines, perhaps this is a weapons set that was being developed by an enemy, and Warbotron captures them or something like that. I don't know. It is very, very cool. Ultimately, though, my feeling is that it is cool and fun, but not really necessary for your Warbotron set. And if that were the only thing that this set entailed, then while I got it as part of the package deal, I don't think it cost me anything extra, and my Warbotron was already on super sale, so it was like super discounted. So I don't mind getting the extra set. If you are getting Warbotron, and you're in the position where it's like, okay, do I get this set along with my Warbotron? Do I need it? I would say you don't need it. But here's the thing. That's not all you get. This is the other thing that you get with that set. This is X-Ray. And for fans of Transformers Generation 1, you will notice that he bears striking resemblance to Shockwave. People who remember the show, there was a memorable scene where Bruticus was on Cybertron fighting with Shockwave and some other Decepticons, and at one point Bruticus grabs Shockwave in gun mode and starts blasting the Decepticons with Shockwave. And that has not been lost on Hasbro, as when they did Combiner Wars Bruticus, they created a Scout class Shockwave figure that could transform into a gun that could be held by Bruticus. Well, the wise people that created Warbotron also realized the significance of having a purple space gun character that bears resemblance to Shockwave. And so this is also included. Now, once again, this is a kit. All of these pieces come on a sprue. You pull them out, and you assemble them. Once again, lots of instructions, and it's not a terribly difficult process, but it is a process of putting everything together. The nice thing about that is that would mean that it's not really hard to take apart. And so if you are somebody who likes to kit bash, or you're a model maker, or you work in miniatures, then this is an excellent opportunity to do some customization. You can do some detail painting, and while it's very nice the way that it is, it's fine. A little bit of detail painting would go a long way on this guy to make him really pop. Now, once again, I'm not showing you the process of assembling this. If you want that video, I will make that video. Just tell me in the comments, hey Clay, show us how to build X-Ray, because we want to see you do it. And I'll do it. So X-Ray is not just a gun. That's the other thing. X-Ray is a transforming robot. And that's what's really cool. You're putting together this little model, and it builds a transforming robot that turns into a really neat space gun that Warbotron can hold in his hand. And honestly, that's really why you want this kit. I mean, no doubt, being able to take a pile of swords, knives, and a pair of nunchucks and build a cool-ass giant gun for Warbotron is really, really cool. But if you miss out on this, you're not going to lose any sleep at night. But especially for those of you who are fans of the Gen 1 Transformers cartoon and remember that iconic scene where Bruticus grabs Shockwave and starts blowing away Decepticons with it. And then maybe you had Shockwave and maybe you had Bruticus and suddenly you realized you cannot do that with your toys because Shockwave is about the same size as Bruticus was all assembled. He was huge! So you couldn't have him hold him, and so you've been waiting for like 40 years to be able to do this. So now you can do it. And honestly, the Combiner Wars Shockwave is a little bit... It's okay. But this one has the... I mean, it would be a lot better if it were painted. It needs some paint detail. The lack of paint detail makes it not look as good as the actual Transformers Combiner Wars Shockwave. But you add some paint detail to this, and it is really going to be an asset. Now, unfortunately, this can be held by Warbotron, but it can't be held by Combiner Wars Bruticus. Not compatible. Yes, I tried. So the transform on this is clever and not terribly difficult. So we're going to pivot the handle backwards, and that's going to disengage these little things which have holes in them from these little pegs. And then we're just going to pull down, and notice that that just kind of extends these bits right here, and right here. And we can separate that. And unlike original Shockwave, X-Ray here, these are his arms, not his legs, which I think is neat. We've got these little tabs here. These little tabs keep the barrel in a straightforward position by snapping into the little holes in the side. So you just have to fold these up. Now, one thing I've found is that these things, you can push them all the way into the sides here, and then it's really hard to get them out. Maybe if I had fingernails, I could do it. So I'm always very careful not to push them all the way in. I leave a gap, that way I can get my finger under there and pull it back out. You push it all the way in, and then you're getting a screwdriver or something, and you're trying to pry them out, and they aren't going to want to come out. It's going to be a pain in the butt, and you're going to be swearing, and you would say, Clay, why didn't you warn me? Well, I've just warned you, so I guess now you can't say that. I mean, you could, but I did warn you. So now you have, of course, these are the legs. And see, there's a little tab right here, and you kind of get that. And see, his joints are tight. You know, once again, great engineering. Nice tight joints. And there's a little tab there, and see that folds out the heel. So now you've got a foot and a heel, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. It is tight. It is tight. It is very tight. There we go. Okay, so we push on that, and we get the foot to come out, and the heel's a little bit easier on mine. And so now you have robot legs, and now we pivot the whole body down like this, and that reveals your X-ray head, because his name's X-ray. It's not Shockwave, it's X-ray. It is inspired by Shockwave for legal reasons. So you can kind of finesse the shoulders up a little bit, and then you've got the little blaster thing, which, there we go, which comes out of this side, and a hand that comes out of this side. There we go. And then you can fold this down if you want, but now you have a little X-ray figure, and he's cool. He is very, very cool. Let me show you on the other camera how cool he is. So here he is. This is X-ray in his robot mode, and you can see that he's got really decent articulation. You got a ball joint in the shoulder, you've got a hinge in the elbow, and a hinge at the bicep, but you do not have a swivel at the bicep, which does inhibit the articulation just a little bit. Because of the transform, you have a hinge at the wrist, you have a pivoting waist, and of course the same articulation on the other arm. The head is on a ball joint, the hips are on a ball joint, and this time you do have a swivel in the thigh and a bend at the knee, and then you know, I guess you could tip the toe if you wanted to, but you don't have an ankle joint like you do with the other characters. So he is really well articulated, not quite as well articulated as the other members of the Warbotron team, but nonetheless, he looks great. And again, just imagine this with some detail painting, which perhaps after I do some detail painting, then I'll post an update video just showing what I did. But he looks really cool. I love these translucent parts, and I really enjoyed putting him together. It was fascinating to see how the pieces were designed to mostly snap together. There were a bunch of screws that were included, and one thing I will say is that the instructions didn't say when to put in screws. So you get all these pieces, and you get this little bag of screws, and actually you get 2 bags of screws because there's some screws that come with the gun kit, and the instructions only tell you about snapping parts together. Nowhere in there do they indicate, okay, you've assembled this, add some screws. That's something that I sort of had to figure out. But again, it wasn't hard, and if you really want to see that process, I can make that video happen. So, bottom line, the weapons add-on and X-ray here, it's normally $30. When it was, before it was sold out, it had gone on super sale for half that price, and I would say that at $30, this is still a good value. Upgrade kits are typically a little bit pricey, and I've seen much smaller upgrade kits that don't have a fraction of this stuff for like $15–20. So to get all of this stuff for 30 is actually a very good value when you compare it to other upgrade kits, and especially when it was half price. Oh my gosh, that's a no-brainer. You know, you want X-Ray. If you've got Warbotron, you want X-Ray, and you'll have fun putting them together. So, yeah, this is probably the easiest video that I've done in this series. So, yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to the channel, and if so, click the notification bell. That way you know when we're doing more of these Short Circuits videos, as well as our live streams, which we typically do every Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern United States time. That's it! This is Clay telling you, you know what I'm gonna say, right? Right? Because, yeah, we're at part 6, so unless you skipped past it, I'm gonna say, keep it retro. Bot. That's right. Bot. Keep it retro. He's a Retrobot. Warbotron's a Retrobot. The guns aren't really a Retrobot, but they can be used by Retrobots.